Again, everyone, Sarah here for Bibliosnack, Books Two Ways, and I'm going to talk about another book today. And the book I'm going to talk about is actually somewhat uncategorizable. It's kind of hard to describe. It's part humor, it's part political satire, it's kind of Lord of the Flies mixed with miscongeniality, and it also has a little bit of Mean Girls and Heart of Darkness thrown in. This book is called Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. And the setup for the plot is fairly simple. In a not too distant future, or maybe it's kind of an alternate present, it's kind of hard to tell, the world is seemingly run by this ubiquitous capitalist organization that is only known as the corporation. And at the beginning of this book, 50 beauty queens, one for each state, are flying in an airplane towards the corporation's biggest beauty contest, which is called Miss Teen Dream. And they're flying toward their destination over the ocean when, of course, the engines on the airplane fail and the plane plummets from the sky and lands on a seemingly abandoned desert island. Many of the girls have died in this plane crash. In fact, it seems like only about 13 or so have actually survived the crash. A few of the survivors include Adina, who is Miss New Hampshire, and she is actually a teen journalist who infiltrated the pageant to get a story for her newspaper. Nicole and Shanti are the two token girls of color in the pageant, so of course they won't win. And of course, there is the absolutely perfect blonde Taylor, who is Miss Texas. So at the very beginning, this story seems like a pretty basic survival tale. The girls have to balance practicing for their pageant, of course, in case they get rescued, while at the same time learning to build their own shelters, hunting for food, gathering water, and all that kind of survival stuff. However, things start to get kind of interesting when the girls start to actually try to get to know each other. And they also discover that they may or may not actually be alone on this desert island. What I really loved about this book is that Libba Bray does a fantastic job at creating these kind of stereotypical pageant girls and then absolutely turning everything you think you know about them on their head. I personally am kind of tired of the current media portrayal of women and girls as kind of not real people, as kind of idealized versions of what they should be, kind of quirky or cute or every man's dream. And at its core, this book is about showing girls for who they really are as real people. It's about seeing beyond the surface and looking at every character as a real person with real issues and desires and loves and goals and sexualities. Libba Bray creates all 13 of these characters who kind of seem one way at the beginning of the book, but by the end of the book, you'll feel like you've really gotten to know each and every one of them and kind of like you're friends with them. I also really liked that this book dealt with female sexuality in a really open and honest way, specifically for teenage girls. I think every teenage girl should actually read this book to know that what they're going through is not so unusual. Everyone is questioning what they want. I highly recommend this book for older teen girls. It might make you think a little bit differently about the pretty popular people at your school. You might think maybe about the fact that they're real people just like you. And it's also just a really badass girls kicking ass sort of book. So if you're looking for a book that's part adventure, part social commentary, part coming of age story, or if you liked Libba Bray's other books, one thing I really like about Libba Bray is that none of her books are the same. Going Bovine and her Rebel Angels series are just completely different than this book. And I recommend you read this, Libba Bray's Beauty Queens.